locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your hosts.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey, this is Matty G.
This is Zach, Midwest Maniac.
And you're listening to Duke Loves Wrestling.
Brothers and sisters, you know that when it comes to Duke Loves Wrestling podcast, we're coming up on our 9-year anniversary. In fact, right before WrestleMania, it will officially be 9 years that I've been knocking this thing out of the park week after week, delivering great pro wrestling content for all of you around the world. And the thing about Duke Loves Wrestling in particular is I love to have diversity in voices, diversity in experiences. It's not just about me running my mouth. It's not just about me getting the Hall of Famers to run their mouths and what have you. It's also important to reach out to fans from all walks of life because we want to show pro wrestling truly is universal. It truly is inclusive if we allow it to be. And it's okay to have different perspectives. So in the spirit of that, I reached out to some fantastic young fans who I envy, quite frankly, because these guys, they're in college. It's still fresh enough for them to have that little feeling inside and get that excitement like from the childhood. But at the same time, they're also young adults. So they understand the wink, wink, nod, nod aspect of things. So to hear their perspective is always refreshing and it's always interesting. And I felt, you know what? Let me share that with you today. So without further ado, we got Matty G, we got the Midwest Maniac. To the both of you fellas, welcome to Duke Loves Wrestling. Matty, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How about you, Duke?
Another day in paradise. You are a fellow New Englander like myself, so it's always great to catch up with you, you know, very close with your family as well, so it's awesome to have you. And the Midwest Maniac. Now, this is a guy who, word on the street, is that you don't play any games. No one tries to mess with you because you're one of those Midwest Maniacs there, but the ladies also love you, so you got that gentle side there. How you doing there, bro?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing today?
Another day in paradise once again. I'm gonna start from this though, because you're a Midwest guy.
Yep.
I've had Chicago deep dish pizza. Yep. I've had Detroit pizza, which is it looks like it's some kind of deep dish thing going on in its own right and what have you. You got to help me out with this, bro, because I'm an East Coast guy. I'm used to New York slices and things like that. What is the best pizza that folks can get up in the Midwest and why?
The best pizza you can get in the Midwest is Chicago-style tavern pizza, not the deep dish, just like a regular thin crust slice from Chicago. That's the best pizza you will ever get.
I've heard about this Midwest Maniac because this is the style that it's like a cracker crust, right? It's not regular thin crust. It's more like a cracker, the crust there, right?
Right, and deep dish is pretty good, but it's not for like going out and getting it easily every week. You can just go and get a thin crust pizza delivery, and I think it's the best pizza that you'll be able to get.
All right, listen, I respect it, man. I respect it. Matty G, what do you think? Have you ever had that Chicago style tavern pizza, which is more of a cracker crust as opposed to what we would know for bar style pizza, so to speak?
Oh, since moving out here, I've had the Detroit pizza. I've had both deep dish Chicago and tavern style. I've got to say that Detroit pizza clears. The sheet pan pizza, it's too good. It's too good.
All right. Now you see, Midwest Maniac, let me clue you in on something, because Matty G is one of these Rhode Islanders, and they got this damn sheet pizza. First of all, they serve it whether it's cold or hot. It's just a big sheet of pizza dough, and then they do little dollops of tomato sauce on top of the thing, and they call the foolish thing a pizza. So this is why this guy is going the other way. He just turned on us. He had a whole heel turn on us here.
Well, listen. Zach knows this. Midwest Maniac knows this when he's taking me back. I'm not the biggest fan of deep dish. I guess it's a hot take of mine, but I'm not the biggest fan of the pizza that I've gotten back in Chicago, so I had to shout out Detroit. They know how to do it out there.
Midwest Maniac, do you remember when the Shield broke up?
I wasn't watching wrestling then. When I was younger, I was never part of that. I mean, I remember it obviously because I've like gone back and looked at it, but I wasn't tuned in back then.
All right, well, that's definitely something you should jump on the WWE Network or on YouTube and
Oh,
just check
trust
it
me,
out.
Duke.
Oh, I've seen it. I know all about it.
Trust me, Duke.
You guys do that already, I'm sure. Well, here's the point I'm making, Midwest Maniac. What Matty G just did to you, you're Roman Reigns, Midwest Maniac, and Matty G is Seth Rollins. He just took the
I think
chair.
just Rollins.
He just took the chair. He bashed you in the back. He's turned his back on us. He's gonna go all Seth freaking Rollins, and he's gonna get his own theme music and all that. He just turned on us, brother, with this pizza take. I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Hey, he's not too wrong about Detroit pizza though. I've had it and I love it. It's no Chicago though.
I had it for the first time, and what I didn't like about it is that the amount of sauce was very thin, and I thought that was odd. But outside of that, yeah, the Detroit pizza, I prefer it over deep dish. I will admit that over the standard Chicago deep dish. But keep in mind, we only have like Uno's Pizza here in New England, so what do we know about deep dish pizza? But
Oh, not
I
much.
digress.
Not much.
Yeah,
I
not
thought
much.
I knew about it until I moved out here. It's
Exactly. So we'll leave. Now wait a second. What's this place? Lou Malnati's? Isn't that a place up there in
Yep.
Chicago? Okay, because you can get Italian beef and all kinds of stuff there, right?
Yeah, you can.
See?
They got all kind of all the Chicago dishes that you can get.
See, I
Italian
know a little
beef,
something.
deep dish pizza.
I know a little something about
I'm not
Chi-Town.
a fan of like Chicago hot dogs. That's not my thing, but I know people who love them.
You get yourself a Fenway Frank and it'll change your life. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right.
Oh, he's coming. I'm taking him back to Boston in March. So you best
Shipping back to Boston. Shipping back to Boston. So get this man a Frank so he can live a little. I'm telling you. Folks, we love to talk about food here on Duke Loves Wrestling. Of course, we have to start with the food. But these young men were on assignment. They headed over to the 2025 Royal Rumble. Again, I envy these guys. You get to see pro wrestling through the eyes of young men who are still figuring out life. So the storylines and who won and what's happening, and more importantly, how people reacted to things around them. It's very interesting. Very interesting. So let's start with the Midwest Maniac first and foremost. Overall, I'm not just talking about the action. I'm talking about the trip overall. How much did you enjoy the 2025 Royal Rumble trip?
I love it. It's about like a 3.5 hour drive for us. It was an all day thing. I've done like a bunch of traveling for events and stuff before, so I'm used to it. But I love being able to get there early, see the whole community out there, just take in everything that's going on in the city, and be able to experience that. It was a wonderful experience for us.
Matty G, you got everybody from your dad to your younger sister, big wrestling fans, and the whole family there. You've been to a bunch of events all over the nation. How does the 2025 Royal Rumble rank for you?
Well, I really enjoyed it. I mean, we'll get into it later, but I'm one of the bigger Jey fans in the world. So that's the results of the men's rumble is a lot better for me than it was for a lot of people that I saw. But yeah, I would say it's probably the second best show that I went to. I think number one is a very clear number one, and it's gotta be like a WrestleMania worthy type of event to top it, because I was on assignment at Survivor Series 2023 War Games where we saw CM Punk return. CM Punk's he was my favorite when I was growing up back in the 2010 to 2013 run when I was like 6 to 10 years old. CM Punk was my favorite. So then getting to be there in Chicago at Survivor Series when Punk came out and nobody expected it, that's a very clear number one. But for the Royal Rumble 25, I mean, it was awesome. We had more of like a city all day experience, and it was just awesome. I mean, you can't be too upset when you get to go to the Royal Rumble, one of the biggest events in the nation.
And this is the biggest Royal Rumble ever. I mean, over 70,000 people
And it felt
live.
It felt it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, I mean, you brought it up. So we'll start with you, Matty G, because you brought it up. Main event, Jey Uso shocks the world. He last eliminates John Cena to become the 2025 Royal Rumble winner, and now he's guaranteed a title shot at WrestleMania. So how do you feel about it? Because it's been a pretty controversial thing. Some people loved it, some people hate it. Matty G, what do you think about Jey Uso winning the 2025 Royal Rumble?
Well, I'll start by saying this. The people and the opinions that you see on Twitter are definitely not a good representation of the rest of the WWE community. That's for sure. I'm a big fan of Jey winning. I think it was definitely unpredictable, and while the storylines were there for somebody like Punk or Cena or Roman or Drew to win, I think it was all too lined out perfectly for that to happen. And there was just going with the unpredictable route and then having Jey win is something that obviously in the short term is going to cause some sort of reaction because everybody wants the farewell tour guy to get his shot right away. But I think in the long term, there's a story there, and there's a great story there. And I think the Royal Rumble is supposed to be about advancing new superstars than just giving a legend one more chance. So I think the Jey win is perfect. I think it causes lots of unpredictability, and it's going to make people want to tune in week by week to see what Jey's going to do. Who's he going to challenge? Because I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure he's just going to straight up challenge Gunther. I think there's still a reasonable chance he might fight Cody. So it's going to be fun to see what he does week by week. And if he does end up fighting Gunther, there's a great story to tell there because just like Sammy last year, he's got to overcome Gunther.
Wow. Okay, he's coming in hot here, folks. Matty G is not taking any prisoners with his opinion. He doesn't give a damn if you dirt sheet goofballs or all you humanoids online don't like it. He's firmly behind main event Jey Uso and the surprise, and he can't wait to see what happens next. I love it. Midwest Maniac, Zach, what's your take on main event Jey Uso winning the 2025 Royal
Rumble? I really like it. In the moment, I don't think he would have been one of the first few choices I would have had to win it. I would have probably rather seen Punk or Roman or Drew or Seth. I honestly never thought that there was a chance that Cena was going to win because they want to tell a story of Cena having to overcome the odds again. So I wasn't upset that Cena didn't win. And I was completely surprised that Jey Uso won, but he deserves it. I think it's a very well-deserved win for somebody who's made such a connection with the fans. And I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of the match options that he has at WrestleMania, but I'm willing to I'm excited to see it week in and week out and see how they lead up to WrestleMania after this.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Listen, for over a month, I've been pointing out that Jey Uso, the response that he's receiving from the fans is organic, it's real, and it continues to build. It's not dissipating in any way. So it just doesn't make sense for the company not to put him in a position where he's truly challenging for the world championship or, one of the championships at least. So I was happy to see that they positioned him this way. And I stated, John Cena, since this is a retirement tour, he should be the one to put Jey Uso over for the title. So I kept saying, hey, let's have Cena win the Royal Rumble, face Gunther at WrestleMania and beat him, and then drop the title to Jey Uso by SummerSlam. That was my prediction. The fact that Uso was able to eliminate Cena And now Uso has definitely got a title shot at WrestleMania. That's a little faster track, but I'm okay with it because the fans love that guy now. And if you don't do something with him now, there may not be it tomorrow. So I thought it was a great idea. Just like you, both of you said, I'm excited to see what's going to happen next because keep this in mind, fellas. There's no guarantee that Gunther and Cody are going to WrestleMania as champions.
Right.
There's a lot of time in between now and then, and anything can happen. When you have Punk and Cena and The Rock, and then you got Roman, and you have Damian Priest, and LA Knight is still, knocking on the door. And oh, by the way, there's a guy by the name of Jacob Fatu who fans are getting behind, regardless of if he's supposed to be a heel or not. There were so many different. He's electric, yeah. So there's so many different people that could step up and do something. Braun Breaker. Breaker now is the most social. He's part of the most social clip in the history of WWE with that thing that he did to iShow Speed. So it's like there's a lot of options that you can put at the top of the card and you'll still make money and fans will still be satisfied. So it's a pretty exciting situation there for the men. Now let's switch over to the women and we'll start with you, Midwest Maniac. What are your thoughts on Charlotte Flair being the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble winner?
I like Charlotte winning it. I didn't like the match. I feel like, she's coming back from injury for first time in over a year. We're used to her being in the main event spot, and while there was an opportunity to give that to somebody else, like an Io Sky or somebody like that, I'm not upset at all about Charlotte winning it. I'm a big Charlotte fan. I think she's going to do great things against probably like Tiffany Stratton, but either way, whoever she faces at WrestleMania, that's going to be a great match. I just didn't like the way the match went. I didn't like the spot where Nia Jax eliminated like 5 main eventers at once, but like after that happens, then it kind of just turns into like, oh, Charlotte's just about to win this, and it kind of gets rid of the suspense at the end. But I like the winner. I didn't like the way they did it.
Fair criticisms there. What about you, Matty G?
I think I have the same criticisms. I felt like it was a very formulaic Rumble in the sense that they just it was just a very generalized Rumble. It's just when you think about things that happen in a Royal Rumble, they just did the most basic stuff. They had their one big return. They had their big giant wrestler do the big elimination spot. And then they had Charlotte, and then they had their big star win. It felt like a very formulaic and safe bet the entire way through. And like Zach said, I was quite into the match until that Nia Jax spot where she eliminated that many people at the same time. It really, really tanked the ability to stay invested in that match because of the level of people that she eliminated. I don't think you want to see Io just get thrown to the side or Bianca just get thrown to the side, and then Stephanie Vicaire didn't really get any chance to shine before she got eliminated. So yeah, that women's Rumble was really, really good for me until it got really, really not good.
Wow. Listen, folks, this is the type of criticism, this is the type of take, well thought out. These are exactly who the WWE is targeting, these two guys, as they continue to build that company. So these criticisms matter. On one hand, you have the surprise of Jey Uso, which was great. On the other hand, it really wasn't much of a surprise that Charlotte Flair won. So is that imbalance, or is that trying to satisfy as many people as possible, knowing that you can't satisfy everyone? Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Matty G, you're a guy who has grown up during this YouTube boom. Both of you guys have. This is really your generation's thing, where people can become famous for just streaming on YouTube and Twitch and things like that, whether they're playing video games, looking at stuff across the internet, talking about God knows what. A lot of these guys become big names. I mean, that's how Logan and Jake Paul became big names. And you have Kai Cenat. Now you have iShow Speed, who legitimately had the biggest clip in WWE, really pro wrestling history online, with he being in the Royal Rumble. Matty, how do you feel about folks like I Show Speed being the celebrity of today that gets incorporated into the WWE, as opposed to when I was younger and they had people like Liberace or Bob Uecker, these other fringe folks. Now you have somebody who's closer to the demographic that they're trying to reach, and they put them right in the action. How do you feel about that, Matty G?
I think it was perfect marketing for them. I mean, like, in the way that YouTube and stuff has been booming lately, it's only growing, and it's only growing at like an exponential rate. And I Show Speed, I think, has 35 million YouTube subscribers himself, and so that's a perfect market for WWE to tap into, because he's got 35 million subscribers in a demographic that the WWE is trying to attract. And so bringing someone like him out there who is crazy enough to because I don't know if you've seen anything Speed related, but what his personality is I'm going to do something a little crazy and something unexpected, and people are going to laugh at it because I do it in a funny way. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, me and Zach were talking before the match, and we were like, we think Speed might get like thrown off the top rope through the announce table. Like, we just think that's the type of guy that he is. And so seeing him get ran over like a truck by Braun Breaker was truly awesome, because it wasn't a wasted celebrity spot. Like Pat McAfee had something like that last year. It wasn't wasted. It was a good short 2-minute moment that resulted in it's nearing 300 million views across all platforms.
That's just in 24 hours. I mean, they're going to do a lot more than that when it's all said and done. But yeah, great call. 300. Who could beat that? 300 million plus.
There's not many draws in the WWE who can tap into the type of market that Speed taps into. I mean, you got the guys like Roman, Carmelo, Cody, like the top guys who people like and are attracted to and will support. But then you got guys like Speed who come in and do their celebrity spot, and that brings in so many new eyes on something other than those top guys. Like, I'm pretty sure people who don't know, like, who are watching the Royal Rumble and don't watch many other WWE shows and only know the top guys, learned who Braun Breaker was, and now probably he's got a lot more fans because of how cool he looked doing that. So it was great. I mean, not only does it benefit WWE on like an engagement front, but I think it also helped Braun Breaker.
Absolutely. I agree. Midwest Maniac. Zach, what are your thoughts on a guy like Speed being incorporated into something as massive as the Royal Rumble and then making it far bigger?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, every Rumble's got like the comedy spot, and I thought it was a really great use of it this year. It's a clip that's really going to go viral. It's using somebody who's one of the most popular like streamers and that's going out today. He's got a funny spot, They utilize it very well in the Rumble. It wasn't wasted. It was like he was in and out before the next entrant came in. Didn't take up too much time in the match, and it's got so many eyes on it, and it worked out pretty much exactly how they wanted it to, and I thought it worked out really well.
Indeed. Who would you pick, Midwest Maniac? Let's go outside the box here. Someone that has not been featured in the WWE before. Who do you think would fit in that has a massive audience, and it's someone that you're entertained enough by that you wouldn't mind seeing them, even if it's just one shot, do something in the WWE?
Man, I think of like athletes in that scenario. It's probably like I think somebody like Victor Wembanyama would be hilarious in the WWE. Would have him in like a ladder match or something.
How about yourself there, Matty G? Who would you pick?
I think I would go for I think I would probably pick somebody like Vince Wilfork, just like a old athlete who's just like one of those like big show Braun Strowman type guys, and just have him come in there and cause some wreckage. Someone like Vince Wilfork, somebody like, let's see, David Andrews, just like a lineman who's got grit and grind.
Wow. Okay. Shout out to Big Vince Wilfork, a guy who I actually have had the pleasure of not only meeting but spending some time with. Not only is he a super athlete, I mean, you look at the guy; he's a big, massive man, but he could run just as fast as about anybody that you know. But he's also a hell of a cook. The man knows how to chef it up, man. That dude, he knows his food. He and his wife. So definitely shout out to Big Vince. That's a good call. He would be great. Even if it's just one match, he'd be great in a WWE match, especially against somebody like a Miz who would be able to take care of him and make him look good.
Right? He would be great for one of those just like squash matches against one of those mid-Carter type comedy guys.
Yeah, no, that works. That's a good call. You brought it up before, Matty G. Just the fact that you have this divide, the paying WWE audience who shows up, they're just there to have a good time, bring the family. It's part of the tradition. You know about that. That's definitely the case with your family. And then you have the folks in the IWC, the internet wrestling community, who want to know all the rumors. They want to know everything before it happens. They think they're so smart. Hey, I heard and somebody told me, and this is what I'm hearing. And they want to play gossip and nonsense. There's a divide there. And a lot of times these gossip and nonsense folks, they get upset when the WWE doesn't do exactly what they predict or what they expect to happen. They don't like being swerved. Are we getting to a point, Matty G, from what you see, where these folks are being discredited enough that people are just not paying as much attention to them? Or do you feel that community of guys who think they're smart and they know so much, is that growing? Is it growing or is it dying, in your opinion?
I don't know. I feel like, for me personally, from what I'm seeing, it's dying, but that may just be as a result of me not looking at it as much. But I do think that in the greater scheme, I think people are calling out dirt sheets and false reports and stuff like that way more often. And I'm definitely seeing a lot more people on the other side who are like, hey, you don't need to know everything that's happening, or you're not entitled to the rumors, or you don't know the wrestlers, or just let the stories develop. I'm definitely seeing a lot more people who are on that other side, or what I would call the normal side. I do think that the ICW or whatever, the IWC is in itself getting a little more like echo chambery and like a cultish, but I think it's separating itself from other wrestler fans to where you can look at people like that and be like, oh, those are just like weirdos from Twitter or the IWC, and they're not an actual representation of WWE fans or what we want.
Yeah, they're the weirdos, to the pencil neck geeks, to the neck beards, to the humanoids, whatever you want to call them. That's what they are. Members only folks who traditionally have bad hygiene. They believe that it makes more sense to hang around in a circle with a bunch of guys versus creating a space where women and even children can feel comfortable being in, which is where you get the word incel, because in a lot of ways it's what a lot of these guys are. They're goofballs. They don't make sense. I don't care who you love, what you do, or anything like that, but spaces where you allow a cross section of people to feel comfortable being in, generally are going to be the most entertaining and fun and memorable spaces. When you start narrowing that scope, well, you got to be a wrestling expert and you got to know who won this match in this year at this time. And if you don't know, one of these goofballs here, that's when things start getting weird and people, they turn their back on that eventually. AEW, it happens. It is what it is, you know. But Midwest Maniac, what's your take? Do you feel that the influence of the IWC is gaining strength? It's getting bigger, or do you feel that it's shrinking? It's going away?
I feel like it's not really like getting stronger or anything. I feel like people give out their criticisms in a way that are like that a lot of people don't like. People will have criticisms for like results that'll happen in the Rumble match or something like that, but they'll do it in a way where it's just like tearing down the result, tearing down the wrestler. When like I understand some of the criticisms, but it doesn't need to be like an attack all the time. I feel like that's something that happens I feel like that happens with like every like sports league. Like the internet section of the fans will have like more hostile takes. Will have more of an attacking personality. When I feel like the criticisms are valid sometimes, it just doesn't need to be delivered in a way where it's like attacking people and making people feel unwelcome in it.
Yeah, yeah. Good call. Good call. Listen, fellas, I appreciate the both of you. I respect the both of you coming on here, speaking to the entire world and letting them know your take. And again, these are college young men who grew up wrestling fans, and at least in the Midwest Maniacs case, he's more of a newer wrestling fan, so he still has some catching up to do. But at least he cares enough to show up at the events and get the whole experience. Watch it at home, find buddies who are into it as well. I mean, these two guys, this is truly what pro wrestling fandom is supposed to be all about. So I love it. I appreciate it. And I enjoy listening to folks like this share their takes. So before I let you guys go, I want to ask one last question here. And we'll start with you, Midwest Maniac. What advice do you have for someone who has not attended a WWE live event on the scale of what you just did at Royal Rumble? So I'm not talking a regular house show. For these bigger shows, do you have one or two suggestions for folks on how to make the experience more enjoyable?
How they had it set up in Indianapolis, there were so many different things going on around the city. You can take a chance to like explore the city that you're in. Even if if it's somewhere that you're not from, you get to experience a new place. Get out there early and experience different things that you can. That's what I would say.
Matty G, what is your advice? Do you have one or two tips for folks when it comes to the big events like what you just had at the Royal Rumble? Any advice for them?
Keep yourself relaxed all day. Because of the level of the event and how many people are going to be around, there's definitely lots of opportunity to get overwhelmed in cases. So I think going to a big event, I think it's important to remind yourself what you're there for and that you're there to have a good time, and just try to minimize nervousness, because it's a spot where you don't need to be nervous. I think another big thing I would say, this just goes for any WWE show, I would say big shows, small shows, whatever, is talk to the community. Find some people who are talking, and just include yourself in the conversation. If you're hanging around waiting in line, get there early, or you're waiting in a concession line or a merch line, I would say talk to some people. Hear some other people's opinions, and maybe you don't want to talk to them for much longer after you hear them start talking, but at least involve yourself in the wrestling community, because I think, especially at a place like Royal Rumble or a show like WrestleMania or one of those bigger shows, you are going to hear so many different types of people, because those are the types of shows that like people from all around come out for. So you get to talk to like parents who brought their kids over from California, like I did yesterday. So I think my biggest suggestion is involve yourself in the community.
I like that. Both of you guys nailed it, man. That's good stuff. Now, do you have anything to plug? Because you're more than welcome to do so. And if you don't necessarily have anything to plug, then I want you at the very least, since we have Valentine's Day around the corner, whoever your sweetheart is going to be, you don't got to say any names, whatever your sweetheart is going to be, give them a shout out. We'll start with the Midwest Maniac first there. Either plug something or give your Valentine a shout out.
I don't have anything to plug, but I'll give a shout out to my girlfriend. We've been together about a little over a year, and that's about it.
Oh, look at him. He's blushing. Let me tell you something there, sweetheart. This guy can't wait for Valentine's Day to show you what romance is all about. All right. He has some plans. It's going to knock your socks off. That's right. What about you, Matty G? Anything to plug, or do you want to share a special message for your Valentine?
No, I've got both. I'll plug if anyone listening is a hockey fan, look into the Western Michigan University hockey team. That's a great hockey team, and I work for the athletic department at this university, and I work multiple sports, but hockey's the one that I care for and am doing the most. So I would say tune in to Western Michigan hockey, because that's a damn good hockey team, and I do all the stats for them. Let's see, my sweetheart, Kaylee, I love you. I'm excited for our dinner together next weekend, and we're also doing a movie after, so I'm very excited for Valentine's Day and to get to spend it with Kaylee.
All right, Kaylee, you get ready here. Valentine's Day is going to be fantastic for you as well. Listen, once again, fellas, I appreciate the both of you. You are fantastic fans. You are a service to the pro wrestling fandom community, and you're both welcome back anytime. So thank you very much for joining Duke Loves Rasslin.
Strictly for the culture every day. Step in style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so divine. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.